Football. Enid Plainsmen Football with Steve and Steve.
Homecoming took place last Friday night, but it wasn't necessarily the outcome that the Plainsmen wanted. Oklahoma City McGinnis, the Irish came to town to play at Selby Stadium, and after a 31-7 loss to the Plainsmen, it's time to look for district play. It was 14-7 after the first quarter, 28-7 at the half. Totally different ball game in the second half between the Plainsmen and Oklahoma City McGinnis. Again, the final was 31-7. Coach, you can almost see two different games compared to the first half and the second half.
Yeah.
What is your assessment of the entire game?
Well, I think the big difference in the second half is our defense played much better as far as limiting their offense. Their really good running back got knocked out of the game early in the third quarter on a great tackle by Jaden Americut and didn't return. He's fine. He was fine after the game and will play next week. But I think the tribute to the defense, offensively, we had great time of possession. We had 0 turnovers. We actually had a recovered onside kick, and they had a turnover. So we got 2 additional possessions in the game and just could only find the end zone one time. And so the ability to finish drives, we had like a 20-play drive that I don't think we scored on. And I think just the inability to finish drives hurt us, and their explosiveness offensively, particularly in the second quarter, I think was a big difference in the ball game.
I'm sure it was obvious to you, but as a fan watching the game, it just seemed like the offense was just not struggling, but it was just difficulty for consistency and to get going.
Yeah.
And you call it finishing drives, you call it getting first downs, but there just seems to be this hitting on 4 cylinders versus 8.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of perspectives. If you look at us a couple weeks ago, we've done a great job of eliminating the stupid penalties, the procedure penalties, things like that, and not turning the ball over. And so we've made some strides in that, and I think it's a tribute to how much our quarterbacks have improved and we've grown up. But nonetheless, we've got to be able to get first downs, move the chains, and get into the end zone, and that was something that we weren't able to do. And part of it was a credit to how good of a football team Bishop McGinnis is. Their defense played really, really well. And did a good job of keeping us from getting big plays. I think their safety, number 1, had a really good game against us as far as when we did get in the open field. He was there to make the tackle.
And excuse me, Coach, I think sometimes it's easy to lose sight of that the other team's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really say, well, we didn't play as well here. But sometimes there's a reason, and that reason can be another team's defense or whatever.
Yeah, their defense was very good Friday night.
Well, let's talk about highlights. We're going to show some in just a few moments.
All right.
What will we see here in just a few moments?
We're going to see some good runs by Will Phillips and Titan Stevens.
Is the onside kick in that?
No, you know what? I should have put on there. I didn't.
That's all right. Sorry. That's all right.
I'll put it on there next week. Maybe I'll throw on there late ad for next week.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then several great plays by our defense, who I think really had an outstanding game, bar that second quarter. Really played at a high level, which is how they've kind of been done all year. So once they got used to the speed of Bishop McGinnis' offense and kind of the misdirection they were doing, we really tightened it down and had a good outing.
There was a play that I think I saw. I would call it old school flea flicker, where you pass it to a receiver and then they pitch it to somebody to run.
Yeah, that's on there.
And what do you call that? What is that in today's terms? What do you call?
That play is one word, and it's because of who catches it. We call it Hulk.
Okay.
We name all of our trick plays after superheroes.
Okay.
And so that one particular one's Hulk. We have Iron Man and Spider-Man and Flash, and but because we're pitching the ball to a 300-pound lineman, we call that Hulk.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Well, let's see if we can roll the tape on these. And Coach, we appreciate your insight on these. Here we go.
Good run here by Will. This is our touchdown in the first quarter. I think this ties the game up at 7. Good job of bouncing it. Good stiff arm, and then finishes the run. Does a good job of balancing and tightrope on the sideline here and getting into the end zone.
And bouncing off some of the runners shows Will's strength, doesn't it?
Yeah. He's got great balance, good strength. Here, really good play by Hayden Priest. Tackles quarterback from behind. Good job pursuit. Great effort.
Good pursuit. Never quit.
Here's a reverse play by Jaden Americut. And does a good job of weaving in and out of there. Good blocking by Caleb Stanley upfield. Good positive play for about 12 yards. Took advantage of their aggressiveness and pursuit angles. It's a good run here by Will Phillips towards the end of the second quarter. No, I'm sorry, pass play. This is good. Here's the flea flicker we were talking about. This is Hulk, where we catch the ball and then flip it back to Caleb Stanley. Damian Rhyme did a good job on the exchange there. And And here we have a great tackle by your inside linebackers and C.J. Adams, our nose guard, is first on the contact here. Here's a good run by Will towards the end of the second quarter. Close to halftime, gets us in position, potentially threatened for a score. And a good example, too, of how well they tackle downfield because we got to the safety level and made a good play. Good quarterback draw by Titan Stevens. This is on fourth down, gets us a first down, extends the drive, gets about a yard past the chains. Here another play by our defense. Quarterback pulls it and good pursuit by the front. And here this is going to be quarterback pull. Dylan Gall makes the play. Good job diagnosing what's going on there and not going for the play fake, and good secure tackle. Another sack here. This is Hayden Priest and Izzy Mendenhall putting pressure on the quarterback, making him feel the pain. Nice play by them. Good pressure and got there quickly. And so you see a lot of really, really good aggressive plays by our defense as well.
Let's go back to the Hulk play.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly, you see how that fits into the scheme and what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. What prompted you thinking, okay, let's do this. Let's run this. Do you always run it to the left, or does it go both sides?
Really, that's a personnel question. As much as the linemen don't like to admit it, we can't do it with every lineman.
Sure.
It's got to be a kid that has a little bit of athleticism, can catch a ball, and
but undoubtedly,
has fairly good speed.
Undoubtedly, something was going on in the game and said, hey, let's run.
Yeah. The corners were playing off enough that would allow us. The hard part of that play is being able to catch the football, gather yourself, and pitch it. And so if you're getting some type of press man, it's hard to do that against.
Sure.
Their corners play soft enough. And reality is the timing was a little bit late on the pitch. If we could have gotten Caleb there a little bit quicker and pitched the ball to him a little bit quicker, he was a little bit late getting there, which is understandable. The corner would have probably sucked up, and we probably would have gotten around the corner, but he had enough time to react and make a play because the pitch occurred so early.
But it certainly is a timing play.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's a pretty sound play fundamentally. It's something that we can do all year long, just because it's if they get a soft corner that's one-on-one, it's a good play.
And if I'm playing defense, I'm thinking if I'm a safety or something, do I really want to hit a 300-pound person running?
That's exactly right. I mean, it's a whooping.
Yeah.
If you do make the tackle.
My job is to hit him, but do I really want to?
Yeah. And I think too, it's kind of fun. I mean, it's a fun play for the kids because the linemen don't ever get to touch the ball.
Sure.
And so they have a lot of fun practicing and practice, and it really is of all of our trick plays the one we execute the easiest, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, that's
given
great.
the personnel.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for thank you for joining us for Plainsmen Football, the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve, and we're going to meet some additional members of the Plainsmen Football team right now, and then we'll be right back with our segment on the Student Athlete of the Week.
Matthew Clark, class of 2019, slot receiver.
Luis Vega, class of 2021, linebacker and O-line.
Connor McClish, class of 2020, offensive and defensive lineman.
My name is Carl Adams, and I'm a class of 2021. I play defensive end and tight end.
Brian Hernandez, offensive line, senior.
I'm Kyle Howe. I'm class of 2021, and I'm a wide receiver.
Brett Seymour, class of 2021, offensive line and defensive line.
Welcome back to Plainsmen Football, the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve. Our special segment today, as we have each week, is the student athlete. And our athlete that we're featuring this week is Abraham Rodriguez. Abraham, welcome to the Enid Television Network and welcome to the Coaches Show.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you taking time to be with us today.
Thank you.
And how is things going?
Everything's going good. Everything's going good. Nothing too crazy. Still transitioning in. But other than that, so far so good. Loving it.
Very good. Well, Coach has a few questions for you. Here we go.
Yes,
Yeah, Abraham is a brand new student at Enid High School. He moved here from, of all places, Australia.
Yes, sir.
And I'm still listening for that Australia accent.
Yeah, it'll come out. It'll come out.
But we're really excited to have him. He's been an immediate contributor to our team, a starter, and we're excited to have him here. So, Abraham, tell everybody about what position you play and get us rolling.
Yep. Well, I play wide receiver. We play the Y spot. If you want to go more in depth. Also play defensive end on the defensive side. And yeah, I make the big plays kind of if they throw it to me. That's about it.
Yeah, Abraham's got outstanding hands. Some of those highlights we've looked at this year have been of this young man catching the football.
Well, as coach, as my mom would say, he's a tall drink of water.
He is.
Yes, sir.
6'4".
Yes, sir. 6'4",
A tall
yes.
drink of water in Oklahoma terms mean you're a tall person.
Yes, sir.
To me, he's kind of our Gronkowski.
Yeah.
And has really done a great job. Okay, you chose to play football. You hadn't played
sir.
for a couple of years,
Yeah, it's
but
been
you
a
moved
while.
here from Australia and
Yes, sir.
chose to play. Why did you choose to play football, and what do you like about it?
I think I like the whole coaching thing. It molds me into a young man or into a young adult growing up. It's in high school, and it just taught me to be, I guess, more positive and more be motivated to be out in the field. My brothers, I guess, are going through the same thing I'm going through. So what's the point of me trying to give up or trying to? It just builds me up as an adult because what I'm going to face in life. So that's just the way I think of it. It's just like a motivation thing, and it's going to lead me on to a good person.
What's been your best memory so far in your over a month?
Yeah, when I first moved here, it's legit. Got off the plane from Dallas, and then got here, gave you my physical, gave you everything, and got straight into it. That was the best thing. Got touch of football, and that was back into it.
You were in Enid all of 20 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You were on the practice field practicing football, which was awesome. All right. Typically, we ask our players what they've done in off season to prepare for this upcoming season, and you weren't here for off season because you were in Australia.
Yes,
so,
sir.
kind of tell us about your last semester and what brought you to Enid.
Well, I attended Morris College, Canberra, in Canberra, of course, in Australia. It's an all-boys private school, and mostly played a lot of rugby and basketball. And I guess rugby kind of, that was my off-season almost really. Played a lot of that. And then, we moved over here, got stationed back here into the United States, and it was like, I want to play football. So, I got back right into it, and here I am, playing for Enid Plainsmen.
Well, I'm sure Coach Hayes welcomed you.
Yeah,
with
of
open
course,
arms.
yeah, open arms, yeah. Yes, sir, yes, sir.
For sure.
Just like a father figure, yes, sir.
Yeah, we need to get Abraham kind of lead. Maybe we get him a captain of the rugby program here in the spring.
Yeah,
That'd be kind of
is there a
fun.
rugby program?
There are some rugby teams here.
That'd be cool to play.
Yeah, there
Cool to play.
are. All right, Abraham, what are your goals for your senior season of football?
I want to score one touchdown at least. One touchdown. That's it. Just look at my father in the stands and tell him I did it. That was my thing. Just score one. Just score one. Other than that, I think win as many games as possible and try to be a good leader off and on the field as well. Just show the young freshmen and sophomores and stuff like that. There's no need to not hide away from the seniors and stuff like that. We're all one big family. So I think that's about it. And just bring culture to the team, really.
Yeah, that's great.
That's about it.
And I will attest to the fact that he does exactly that. He's a good example of that. All right, man. You're going to be at Enid High School for 1 year.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You're going to graduate. What are you going to do after you graduate?
I want to open up my own physiotherapy business.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to do that. I want to do something with sports medicine, something along those lines,
Yeah.
If I'm not going to be the best athlete, why not help the best athletes?
Do you have any idea where you want to go to college?
So far, probably Oklahoma Baptist University.
Okay, great.
Probably one of those ones, something a little small.
Love it.
Get some hands-on stuff like that.
Love it. That's great. That's great.
And OBU is just east of Oklahoma City.
Yes,
in
sir.
Shawnee.
Yep, Shawnee, yes, sir.
So it's not that far from the big city.
Yes, sir.
Abraham, a final question for you.
Yes.
What, if you could finalize into kind of one statement, what are you going to take away from this senior year experience playing football with Coach Hayes?
You're hit with a lot of diversity. Or adversity, I think that's the word, adversity. Yeah, adversity. We're faced with a lot of it, There's a lot of times where, some kids want to lose it and, just give up. And Coach Hayes tells us, he's putting us under his wing. He's telling us, stay on. It'll be a good ride. You'll be all right. So I think that's something I'll always remember, just being there and being motivated.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate that very much. Our student athlete of the week, Abraham Rodriguez, number 82.
Yes, sir.
And I had that in my notes, but there you are wearing number 82. So he's real easy to spot on the field, right, Coach?
Yes,
One of the tall ones out there. So, Abraham, again, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Again, thank you for joining us for the Coaches Show. We're going to take this time out and meet some of the supporting cast, some of the assistant coaches, and we'll be right back with Chalk Talk right after this.
I'm Coach Dusty Quarles. I coach secondary. I went to the Northwestern Oklahoma State University, and the best advice I've ever been given is keep God first. And if you do so and have a relationship with Christ, then you'll never have to worry about whether or not you're adequate for today's journey.
I'm Kyle Young. I attended the University of Central Oklahoma. I coach linebackers and I'm defensive coordinator. And the best advice I'd probably give or have received is When it comes to your morals or your faith, don't settle. Always stand on the rock and never falter no matter what's going around in your life.
My name is Kime Sears. I coach the defensive line for the Enid Plainsmen. I went to the University of Nebraska, and the best piece of advice that I've gotten is leaders lead from the front, not from the back.
I'm Kyle Davis. I attended the University of Oklahoma. I coach the offensive line, and the best piece of advice I've gotten is give it to God.
Welcome to the Chalk Talk segment of the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve, and we've discussed a variety of positions for the last few weeks. And since our student-athlete coach plays defensive end, let's start with that.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about the kind of the skill set for a defensive end, and then we'll just transition to the defensive line, if you will.
Sure.
Defensive end first off.
It's good. We've started with the third level and the safeties, and now we've gone to the linebackers, and now we're moving all the way down to the defensive players that line up over the football. They're the ones that the offensive linemen block right off the bat, and so they have to have pretty good strength and pretty good quickness to engage an offensive lineman and shed the block, get off of it, and then go make a play. And their two roles basically are to occupy blockers so that linebackers can run and not get blocked, and then at the point of contact, shed blockers and make a play as a running back comes by. Defensive ends tend to be the quicker, longer, and they look more like Abraham that we just met type of players, because they're the edge pass rushers, are the ones that are coming off the edge and usually with their length force the quarterback up in the pocket to whatever stunts or defensive lineman that are rushing up the middle. And for us, the interior lineman's a nose tackle, nose guard, who lines up over the center, who's the guy that's snapping the ball. And typically the nose guard has to be a guy that's capable of taking on two blockers, because they almost always get blocked by two men or double teamed, whereas the defensive ends typically only get blocked by one person and have a little bit more freedom to make plays and have an opportunity to maybe be more productive. Those nose guards, that's a pretty selfless job. They're going to take on two and sometimes three blockers solely for the sake of allowing linebackers to not be blocked so they can run and make plays. And so it's the defensive version of the blue-collar worker. And if you have a good defensive line, you're really good on defense. And if you don't, it's hard to win. And this year we're really fortunate in that we have a very good defensive line, really one of the strengths of our team.
And you have some speed with that.
We do. We got some big kids that can run well, which is a premium.
Huge.
Yeah, it's a premium. It really is.
And you want your defensive end also to be able to run. You want some quickness there.
For sure.
To fight off that block, but also just to really move.
For sure.
Anything else of when you put your defensive line together you're looking for in the skill set?
Toughness. Kids that like to hit, want to be physical, want to chase the ball. There's a certain set of kids that want to catch the ball, and there's a certain set of kids that want to hit people that are carrying the ball. And so kids that like the physical contact and going and tackling usually make good linemen.
If you're a defensive end or a defensive lineman, it's hit or be hit.
Correct. We say it's better to be the hammer than the nail. Much better to be the hammer than the nail.
That's the Chalk Talk segment. Thanks, Coach Steve Hayes. And we're going to take this time out, and we're going to meet more members of the Plainsmen football team. Let's do that right now.
I'm Darren Keith, class of 2019, wide receiver.
Caleb Stanley, class of 2020, O-line, D-line.
My name is Noah Escobedo. I'm in 11th grade, and I play receiver and safety.
Kay Potion, class of 2021, defensive line.
My name is Hunter Falarski. I'm class of 2021, and I play linebacker.
Herman Velasquez, defensive end, senior.
Dayton Griffin, 10th grade, defensive end.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us on the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve. And I want to say special thanks to the men's department at Dillard's out at the mall for providing the wardrobe for Coach Steve Hayes throughout the Coaches Show this year. So each and every week they have provided the nice wardrobe.
They have.
So we appreciate, again,
I do appreciate it.
men's department out at Dillard's, and we appreciate their support of Plainsmen football and also the Coaches Show. Okay, last Friday night, McGinnis scores, and then the Plainsmen score. Right after you score, you decide an onside kick.
Sure.
What were you thinking?
Well, that's a really good question relative to this game. It was very directly correlated to how Bishop McGinnis lines up on kickoff return. They line up with 4 men in front, and they leave the middle of the field open. And so we felt like that their kids were further away from the ball than our kids, and therefore we could get to it before they could. And And especially since we knew it was going to happen and they didn't. And sure enough, we were right. Creed Skidmore, it's all really driven by the quality of the onside kick. The ball has to be placed in the right spot. And Creed Skidmore did an outstanding job of placing the ball perfectly. He almost recovered his own onside kick. Jaden America ended up getting on top of it, but it really wasn't even close. We had almost every one of our kids there in that front line there before they had a single kid arrive. And Coach McGill is the one that noticed that and designed that strategy. It's a great job. He asked me if it was okay if we did it, and I said, we practice it well during the week. To me, if you do something well in practice, you're silly not to run it in a game. And it's something that we had executed perfectly all week long in practice. They lined up just exactly like we thought they were going to, and so we pulled the trigger on it, and we're real fortunate to gain an extra possession. That was a real bright spot in the game.
I don't know what it is, but it seemed like onside kick is synonymous of being behind fourth quarter, trying to get the ball back. It's been that way for the longest time, it seems like.
Yes.
But when you do it after your first score, I think it also sends a message. We're here to play.
Correct.
We're here to score.
I agree. I agree. It was a great momentum boost. Had we been able to go down there and score at that point and tie the football game, it would have been huge. It really would have. Unfortunately, we didn't capitalize on that extra possession. But wow, what a greatly executed play by our kids and well designed by Coach McGill.
And you mentioned Coach McGill as one of your assistant coaches seeing that opportunity. So let's take this time out because we need to introduce you to more members of the assistant coaches. And also, we're going to show the remaining the district schedule here in this timeout as well. We'll be right back.
Coach Cameron Condor, coach quarterbacks, offensive coordinator, attended Grand Canyon University, Phoenix, Arizona. Best advice, be yourself. Don't worry what others are thinking about you.
My name is Coach Jake Hayes. I attend school at Evangel University in Springfield, Missouri. I coach wide receivers for the Enid Plainsmen. I teach PE at Hayes Elementary, and the best piece of advice I've ever received is anything worth doing is worth doing right.
I'm Coach Chad Miller. I graduated from Southwestern Oklahoma State University. I coach safeties for Enid High School. The best advice ever given to me was by my grandfather. He always told me if I wanted something in life, I would need to earn it through hard work.
Hello, my name is Wes McGill. I graduated from the University of South Dakota and North Dakota State University. I coach linebackers, and some of the best advice I've been given is proud men don't complain, they find solutions.
Welcome back, and again, thank you for staying with us here at the Enid Television Network. As weekly, we provide Enid Plainsmen recap and just the coaches show with Coach Steve Hayes, and we appreciate the partnership between the City of Enid and Dr. Floyd and Enid Public Schools and Coach Steve Hayes as well. Coach, we need to talk about some of the promo items because people watch the show. There's going to be a benefit for watching the show. When we get to the end of the year, we're going to have a drawing for 2 tailgate chairs. And as you can see on your screen here in just a moment, there's the 2 tailgate chairs, and all you have to do is go to the mall, go to On Deck at the mall, and fill out a little entry form. No purchase necessary. Just complete that little entry form, place it in the box out there and at On Deck. And also we'll draw for the Barry Sanders bobblehead doll. So we have 2 tailgate Enid Plainsmen chairs, very sharp. EHS, got the logo on the backside, and then, of course, you see the Barry Sanders bobblehead doll. So again, no purchase necessary. Go see our friend Gary Williams out at On Deck, fill out an entry, and we thank them for their support of Plainsmen football. Coach, before that announcement, we just showed the district schedule. We're going to talk about Westmoore in just a moment. What's going on in your district? I'm sure you're looking at other teams down the road, but what is happening? Everybody undefeated? Everybody's lost games? What's
right now Broken Arrow is undefeated. They're 3-0 and have had some big wins. They've beaten some good teams. Yukon is undefeated. A little different schedule, but still they've been quite successful.
Sure.
Look like they're much improved this year. Edmond Memorial has struggled. Westmoore is 2-1. They're 2-0 against the other Moore schools. They played Southmoore and Moore and then lost this last weekend to Mustang, who we saw in the Bixby scrimmage. And so that kind of gave us a sense of physically where they're at. Right now it's wide open. I think right now the good teams for sure are Edmond Santa Fe, Jinx, and Broken Arrow. And then I think the question marks are the rest of us, and really will be kind of sorted out as we go into district play.
So you have another home game at Selby Stadium on September 21st. Westmoore, I think they're the Jaguars, is that
Westmoore
correct?
Jaguars, yeah, that's right.
And so Westmoore is coming to town to play at Selby Stadium. So let's talk a little bit about Westmoore, another big school, another 6A big school.
Yep.
What do they do? What do they do well?
Westmoore kind of broke through last year and made the playoffs as the fourth place team for the first time. Lost to Owasso in the first round. They've graduated a lot of good football players off that team, and so they're young this year. But they're athletic. They have good team speed. They're very, very aggressive on defense. They're very dissimilar to Bishop McGuinness, polar opposites. They're going to be very much of an attack mode, get upfield, try to create havoc and chaos. They're an even front without any edge players, and they're going to play straight man behind that. And so they're kind of a high-risk, high-reward type defense. Opponents have gotten a lot of big plays against them, and they've also made some big plays because of their athleticism and the pressure they put on the offense. And so this will be a real important week for ball security because they really are trying to create turnovers. That is an objective, even at the cost of maybe giving up a big play. They're going to take some chances. And so we've got to be prepared to take advantage of that. Offensively, they have a sophomore quarterback who's a talented player. He throws the ball real well. They have a good receiver at the slot. He's number 7, who is a really good go-to threat. Kind of reminds me of a Wes Welker type football player.
Okay.
Very, very athletic, can open the field and makes good yardage after the catch. Their offensive line is competent and good, and so we'll have to play well. I definitely think that if we play well, we've got a legitimate chance of beating them. We just have to take advantage of the things that they give us, and it'll be an exciting game. I think they play with a lot of noise and a lot of energy, and so I think that it'll be a game that will really have some big plays in it, both for us and hopefully not so much for them.
So Westmoore comes to Selby Stadium this Friday, 7 p.m. kickoff. We encourage everyone to go out and support the Plainsmen. If you're not familiar with the schools in the Oklahoma City area, there was Moore High School forever, and Westmoore was a high school that I believe it was in '88, late '80s, that was developed. So it's a relatively new high school, but that Oklahoma City metro area with Yukon and Moore, Norman, all that continues to grow, and they add more schools. So Westmoore comes to town for the 21st to play the Plainsmen. Well, Coach, we need to take a short break. We need to show the times that the Coaches Shows airs, and then we'll have some closing comments.
Sounds good.
So we'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Plainsmen Football, and as you saw the airing times on the Enid Television Network, be sure to share those times with your family and friends, and we'll have more people watching Plainsmen Football. Coach, let's talk a little bit about injuries are part of the game, but Friday night's behind you. You got to get ready for the next Friday night. So you got to deal with injuries and next person up, next man up. And so what are you going to be working on this week?
This week we're going to be working on our passing game. I think it's definitely an area that we need to improve, and we need to be able to take advantage of the specific things that Westmoore does that allow us to throw the football. And so I'm excited about that. I think we've got a really good plan after coming out of the weekend and watching video for being able to throw the football and loosen the defense up a little bit. We've got to continue to get better in the offensive line. We missed Colton Dodd on Friday night. He was on the show and ended up not being able to play this last Friday night because of a in-week injury during practice. And so we're going to have to get that position shored up this week and make sure that we're playing at a high level there. So that we have some of the issues that we potentially had last Friday night. And so a lot of work to be done. I really like how much we've improved. If we can continue to improve as much as we have, I think we're going to really put a good football team on the field. And hopefully that'll actually show itself this Friday night.
Well, the weather is warm, but we're moving into the fall season. So hopefully we'll have some really nice, cool football Friday night weather here for the rest of the season. Coach Hayes, appreciate your time. Thanks for being here. And want to say special thanks to Abraham Rodriguez, our special student athlete of the week that we featured earlier today. And thank you for joining us for Plainsmen Football, Coach's Show with Steve and Steve. Until next time, make it a great week, and we'll talk to you then.
Thank you for watching Enid Plainsmen Football with Steve and Steve on ETN.